Boxes, boxes everywhere. Welcome back to another episode of How to Star Citizen. This time I'm going over boxes. It's a newer-ish feature that they had added in, and it's kind of useful. I think it's good to know. I think it might have more use in the future, and it's just one more thing that I think helps you learn the game. And so today I'm at Everest Harbor. We're going down to the cargo center. This is pretty much the same no matter which major port you're at. Some of the other stations might have these as well. But essentially we're going over the kiosks and we're going to buy a couple different things. One is the boxes themselves, which is where you get them, and then also a multi-tool just in case. So that box we saw actually is not one of the purchasable ones, at least in this patch, which is 3.23.1. Might be added in the future, but at any rate, we'll get our multi-tool and also a tractor beam attachment. And then we'll go ahead and actually buy the boxes. Choosing the categories for filtering should help you out, just because sometimes they're not viewable from the all view. But as you can see, we have a 1, 2, 4, and an 8 SKU box. So I'm going to go into basically all the ins and outs in terms of how much physical space they occupy, how much storage they have inside, as it relates to items you might actually want to put in them, and then just kind of moving the boxes around, manipulating them, and then also putting them away. So it's pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy here. One of the unique features about these boxes though is that you can load them up and then all the items stay inside. So much like the components or pocket spaces on armor, you can kind of use these the same way. So if you wanted to load them up with a bunch of stuff, you don't have to move all the items. It just stays self-contained in the box. And then conveniently enough, you can also move that box in and out of your inventory that's local to an area such as, like I said, like Everest Harbor, the port we're at right now. So I think that's a pretty cool feature. Another significant feature about them is that they don't take up vehicle cargo space or the vehicle inventory space, which are two different things. And so, whether you're on a smaller ship or a bigger ship, as long as the box fits in it, it has its own independent space that it's occupying. So that's kind of a neat thing. It's especially useful, I think, for smaller ships because sometimes they don't have a lot of cargo. In fact, there's some ships that you can physically fit the box, but it might not actually have a dedicated cargo area. So, a ship that comes to mind is like the Warden. You can actually fit, I think, the 1 and 2 SKU boxes in there. So that's pretty cool. So now that we have our boxes purchased, I pulled out my Connie, and basically you're just dropping the boxes. The boxes do have a tendency to spawn behind the character, so in this case we're looking forward. There's a tendency to drop behind us, but not always. I don't know exactly why it goes where it goes, and in some cases it just goes right through the floor. So I'm giving it an extra layer with our cargo ramp. So, first we had the 1 SKU box, then the 2, and then of course, we have the 4 and the 8, but it's pretty simple. You're dropping it just like you drop any other item, just drag it over to the hand, and then it pops out. Sometimes if the server is performing poorly, the boxes disappear or go through the floor, so that can definitely be problematic. This 8 SKU box is probably the most problematic just because it's a little big. But, again, you can use it all the same. So these are the different sizes in terms of, the physical size that it occupies. One thing to note about these two is they are grid stackable. So if you do have, an actual cargo bay, like in the case of the Taurus right here, you're able to actually get them to align to the grid. So that's kind of convenient as well. Sometimes there are issues with using the tractor beam while at a port just because of the armistice. But at any rate, here's the 2 SKU container. I'm just dragging some common items. Maybe if you're doing something like a bunker mission, you know, you might get armor, you want to loot it. This gives you an idea of how much they might hold. The guns don't take up too much space. The armor does start to take up space pretty quickly. But you can see chest piece, legs, a couple rifles, and a pistol. Takes up about a quarter of the space for the 2 SKU. Going over to the 1, which is the smallest offering, doesn't hold too much. Again, rifles aren't too bad, but if we do like a comparable offering, you know, it does scale proportionally. So you know, you'll see that like adding another rifle, it's only like 4 or 5%. But it's adding the armor that really adds up. So if you're just maybe doing something like looting rifles, not bad at all. You can throw quite a few in here, and it's much easier than you know, actually having to carry each and every single one individually. The other nice thing about this 1 SKU box is you can fit that in a lot more spaces. Pretty much any ship other than a fighter is going to be able to fit it, and you can also use the tractor beam and have it follow you around. So I might go into that in a future video, maybe focused on the bunker missions, maybe show some different ways we could use it potentially, just to make things a little bit easier. This is the 4 SKU box. You can see you can add quite a bit of armor here. You know, that's what, 4 pairs of legs, 3 chests, head and arms, and that was only about half. So again, you know, again, it does kind of scale proportionally. So. And then, you know, I was mentioning too that you can manipulate the boxes, so you know, you can move them freely around, but then also, you know, if there is a cargo grid, you can align them that way as well. So I think that's kind of a nice convenient feature, especially if maybe you're already doing something like a cargo run or you know, whatever else you have going on. So in this case, because the Armistice Zone issue, I did have to fly away a little bit, but you know, just to kind of prove my point, these are all boxes you can, you know, manipulate with the regular multi-tool. You don't have to use the heavier one or anything like that. So that's kind of nice. And then there's the locked grid if you need it. So again, you know, the uses today, you know, there might be somewhat limited, but I can only see this getting bigger and better in the future, especially with the cargo rework in the upcoming 3.2 patch, where you're actually going to have to hand deliver all the cargo, or at least there's going to be some mechanism for getting it to those elevators. I think these cargo mechanics are going to continue to come into play as far as things you might put in the boxes and how you move those around. So I think good to learn it, and you know, nice, neat, and stackable. You know, using the multi-tool. And then of course, you know, the last area that I wanted to cover today was just how to put all the boxes away. So again, I think I'll probably end up doing a bunker mission focused video next. But if you have any other suggestions, you know, please leave them in the comments. Really appreciate it. And as far as putting them away, it's kind of like picking up something on the ground. You do need to be close enough to them. Sometimes if the server's misbehaving, or if it's on a ship, it can be a little funky. But essentially, you're just drag and dropping. I know sometimes I have to highlight things, but otherwise, that's all I got. I'll catch you in the next one.